What's up, everybody? Extramillion here once again with the first episode of Totally Sick Bioshock 2 Edition. So, obviously now I'm playing Bioshock 2. This run will be pretty much identical to the first game's run. Hard mode, no Vita-Chambers, no Plasmids except where necessary. Only this time now I'm using the signature Big Daddy weapon, the drill, instead of the wrench, which is pretty sweet. As you can see, you are now playing, instead of Jack, you're playing as a prototype Big Daddy named Subject Delta who can use plasmids and move at normal speed. You don't have to trudge around. This game was not actually made by the same people who made the first game, so its story is not quite as tight as Bioshock 1. Although what it lacks in its story elements, it definitely makes up for in its gameplay. They streamlined just about everything you could possibly think of. They made using weapons and plasmids easier, hacking, research, getting at them. You name it, they pretty much improved on it. The biggest change, probably, is that you can now use plasmids and weapons at the same time, so you now have full access to your left and right hands simultaneously. I know, it's a huge leap for video games. So you could basically be setting someone on fire with Incinerate while you're shooting at them. They also changed it so that now every weapon has a melee attack, not just the first one, like the wrench or the drill. So you sort of smash people in the face with the butt of the gun. They changed plasmids so that now, instead of each plasmid just basically costing more EVE to use and being slightly stronger, each one has a significant effect in each of one of its upgrades. Like, just for instance, Electrobolt. Electrobolt 1 functions pretty much the exact same way as the first Electrobolt. Electrobolt 2 can now be charged to unleash a chain lightning attack that jumps from enemy to enemy, in addition to its being stronger and using more EVE. And then Electrobolt 3 has the chain lightning by default, and then if you charge it, you can fire this continuous stream of Sith Lord force lightning out of your hands, which is pretty sweet. They changed the way weapons are upgraded in this. First, you can also upgrade your melee weapon, so I'll be getting all 3 upgrades for the drill. And like I just said, now all the weapons have 3 upgrades instead of just 2. Once you get the first 2 upgrades for a weapon, you get a third hidden upgrade that you can buy, or find at a gather or a Power to the People machine. You don't have to buy them. But the third upgrades usually just give you some sort of feature that was already in the first game, just to streamline everything. So the shotgun, instead of having to find that electric buck ammo, the third upgrade for the shotgun just electrifies all of your shots. And like I said, they made everything like hacking and research and atom gathering just more streamlined, so I'll talk about those when I actually get the hack tool and the research camera and find a big sister or a little sister to harvest atom with. Alright, so now we're just about ready to start the game. There are a few new enemy types in this one too. Most notably is the Big Sister, which is basically what happens when a little sister grows up. It's basically like a armored spider splicer from the first game, or basically a really fast, lithe Big Daddy that jumps around and can attack you, and I'll go into how to fight them once I actually do fight one. You'll also have to forgive the rather imprecise nature of my playstyle in this. It's a bit more sloppy than the first game, just because the PC version of this game, they kind of dropped the ball on. For one, the DLC for it, Minerva's Den and the Protector Trials, didn't come out for a whole year for the PC version. And they also inexplicably took away the ability to play the game with a 360 controller. I'm playing with one right now, but I had to use a third-party program called Pinnacle to play. It's a pretty awesome program. You could do the same thing with Xpatter, but you'll notice that when I first get Electrobolt, I have to shock a door, just like you do in the first game, but I miss twice, just because the controls are not quite as precise, because you have to program them yourself, and it sort of emulates a mouse and a keyboard, because basically the program, you push a button on the 360 controller, and then it basically tells your computer that you hit the corresponding button on your keyboard. And obviously your keyboard has way more buttons than a controller does. Fighting enemies with the drill is pretty much the same, although the drill is a bit slower to swing. It does more damage, So as you can see, it took like 3 hits to take out that guy instead of the 6 to 8 that it would normally take to kill the splicer with the wrench. But I'm not really sure where the hitbox terminates in front of it, so I'm probably a little closer to enemies than I need to be. I probably take a few more hits than I should. You'll notice in the lower left-hand corner that there was a gauge for the drill, because the drill actually has 3 attacks. There's just the normal melee attack, which has a couple of different swing animations. They all do the same amount of damage. Then you can hold down the right trigger and drill into an enemy, just like the Big Daddy can. And this attack consumes drill fuel, which you'll see me pick up there in the form of these little oil cans. And drilling an enemy is pretty awesome. It does persistent damage over time. It does quite a bit of damage, and it stun locks an enemy in place, except for Big Sisters, Big Daddies, and a new type of splicer that they have. So, yep, there's miss number 1, miss number 2, and 3rd time's the charm, so I finally get the door open. But yeah, then you basically just wander in here, you fight these splicers. As soon as I kill this one, I shock that so that the story event takes place and all the doors open so that I can, while I'm fighting him, the doors are opening so I don't have to wait for them. But yeah, you can drill into enemies, and then there's a 3rd attack that you get in the 4th level where you can actually do the Big Daddy charge, where you charge in an enemy and then smack them with the drill, which consumes drill fuel and but is extremely fast and does a ton of damage. So I'll obviously be using a great deal of that. Now you can see just from that limited use of the drill, it already consumed about a 1/6 of my drill fuel meter, and then I later replenished it. But that's the kind of bad thing about the drill, is that it can be either the weakest or the most powerful weapon in the game, but it's also the most ammo-hungry weapon in the game, so you constantly see me spending money on drill fuel. So, if at all possible, I try not to use the actual boring into an enemy on anything other than very powerful enemies. So I guess get all of your dirty jokes out of the way now, because there's going to be a whole lot more deep drilling where that came from. This game also has a few scripted scenes where you can't really die, this being one of them. This is the first time that you actually encounter a Big Sister and she tries to fight you. This battle is similar to the first fight in the prologue of Super Metroid with Ridley, where you can't really kill him. You just have to take a certain amount of damage and then you just get to leave. So since I can't die, I'm just waiting for the Big Sister to attack me, so I just wander around the area and pick up some stuff. Basically just 2 first aid kits. I'll go more into depth into her attacks once I fight one for real, but basically I just let her hit me so that she runs away. Pick up more drill fuel here. Also, it was kind of nice of them to refill your health every once in a while after some of these scripted events, so like every time you go underwater, like I'm just about to do now in this awesome event, my health will be refilled, so there's no need to use a first aid kit. Shit! So, obviously, since you're wearing a Big Daddy suit, you can survive underwater. There's not a whole lot to do in these little underwater outside parts, except for kind of just like wander around from area to area. There are a few different ways to get Adam in this game, other than gathering. Big Sisters, when you kill them, they drop Adam, and there are those little Adam slugs. Sometimes you'll find them outside, and you can grab one for about 10 Adam, so that's kind of nice. So basically, it's just, there's Jack's plane right there, the tail section. But other than that, these outside areas are pretty much just to enjoy the scenery. So once I get back inside, my health will be refilled, and then I will be out of the Adonis Luxury Resort area that I was just in. There's Rapture right there in all its glory. And then I will be in the Atlantic train station, which is the next level, and I will see you guys then.